Welcome to the First Responders Podcast, the podcast about first responders, made by first responders. Now for your host, Brian Miller, a retired first responder with over 25 years of experience.
All right, you're back with the First Responders Podcast. My name is Brian. I'm your host. I am in Currituck, North Carolina, sitting across the desk from Kim. Kim is a peer support specialist with a local agency. And we're not going to talk about the agency because I want to talk about the topic. Normally, on the podcast, we talk about different agencies. We've talked to Monroe County. We've talked to Norfolk Fire. But we're talking about a specific topic today, and that's peer support and why first responders need it. Kim, how are you, ma'am?
I'm doing all right, Brian. How you been?
Been better, but I've been a lot worse. So one of the reasons for peer support, as far as I know, and I've never been trained, I'm not trained in it like you are, but I know there's a need for it. And one of the things that I say about our jobs, whether you're a cop or a firefighter, EMS, deputy sheriff, there's two things. Number one, we get to see things and do things that the regular 9-to-5 people don't, right? They're not delivering babies. They're not responding to fights. They're not doing stuff like that. That's the really cool stuff that we get to do. You ever deliver a baby?
No.
I hope not, working in the jail. I did early in my medical career. I delivered one, and
I've been there, but I wasn't the one delivering. So I've been there for a couple.
Yeah. So, and the other thing, at least as far as I know, and you might agree with me, first responders, I know personally, I know more people that died by violence, whether it's suicide or in the line of duty, than died by natural causes.
Sadly, yes, I've done a lot of those.
Yeah, Virginia Beach lost a couple of guys in February, and that was part of what fired me up to do this podcast. But the numbers, it's really hard to find accurate numbers on either suicides or line of duty death for police officers. Is fairly easy because you can go to the officer down page and they'll give you a count. But one of the numbers that I found, it said between 2016 and 2022, we had an average of 186 officers killed in the line of duty each year.
Yep.
Sound about right?
It does.
Yeah. The suicide part, I know, again, you and I know people that have done it. And it's a sad and tragic thing. And that's part of what peer support is here for, correct?
Exactly. Suicide is unfortunately one of our worst enemies. It is, yep. I know there have been years, I don't know the statistics off the top of my head, but there have been years where we've had more suicides than line of duty happen to law enforcement. And that is heartbreaking.
Well, I know, well, at least I'm 99% sure about where we came from. There was probably one every couple of years. And it's, it's tragic because they're starting to address, and we talked to Harold about it, Harold Phillips, a couple of months ago, the physical toll that this job takes on us. Heart problems, cancer, bad legs, bad knees, bad feet, walking checks, running the fights, stuff like that. They're just now, within the last couple of years, really starting to focus on the mental health aspect of it. One of the numbers that I saw said that about 30% of first responders across the board suffer from some sort of post-traumatic stress disorder.
I would agree with that.
All right. Yeah. That's and part of what I'm hoping we can do is get rid of the stigma. Kim and I, we're on it. Kim's still working. I retired 3 years ago, but there's 45, 50 years between the two of us. And we're a couple of dinosaurs. And back in the early 2000s when I started, there was very little done for mental health. You swallow it and you go on with your job.
Yep. Those were the days with suck it up, buttercup.
There you go. Exactly. And we're starting to find out that that's not all that productive.
No.
That's where you get these suicides now.
It's counterproductive. We're losing good men and women.
Yeah. So Kim has kindly agreed to sit down and talk about being and becoming a peer support counselor. Again, we're not going to address the jurisdiction because I want to talk about the situation and the training that she received. From from the research I've done, every jurisdiction has access to something like this, whether they call it peer support or critical incident or, what was that other acronym you gave me?
CISM, Critical Incident Stress Management.
Yeah, incident stress management. But everybody now has access to some of this, something along those lines. So, Kim, tell me first, why did you decide to become a peer support specialist? Or is that your title?
Just a team member.
Okay. Gotcha,
peer support team member.
Okay.
I started with the peer support team shortly after I got certified with my dog as a pet therapy team.
Oh, okay.
We were certified through forgive me, I'm trying to remember, it's been several years now, Therapy Dog International, TDI. We certified through them, and we were volunteering with local hospice and recovery center as well. And that's when they had just started putting together the peer support team in the department I'm with. And I reached out and said, hey, do you guys have a therapy dog? Do you have access to a therapy dog? Would you like access?
What year was that?
Oh, goodness. That was probably around 16 or 17 when we certified. And they said, we would love to have a therapy dog, but we want you to go through all the peer support training as well so you can be fully a part of the team.
Yeah.
So that led me into it. And since that time, my dog has passed. I would like to train another, but I am still part of the peer support team and I still volunteer in that capacity.
So what's the training like?
The training for peer support is different between different departments, but one of the common, I think what most departments are going to now is an organization called International Critical Incident Stress Foundation. They certify in different aspects of peer support.
Okay.
They have group crisis intervention training and individual crisis training. They also offer the CISM that I mentioned, the critical incident stress management. And that's something that we go through, most of our peer support team has been through to sort of work on ourselves and learn for ourselves how we can better ourselves in that respect so that we can take care of others when we do the group crisis intervention or individual crisis interventions.
And so did you have to go through, because we talked earlier about the CIT training.
Mm-hmm.
So did you have to go through, is it a week, 2 weeks? What was your initial training for the peer support group?
Initially for peer support, the training I did the crisis intervention stress management, which is, I believe that was a 2-day course when I took it. And I did I can't remember what it's called. There's a radio station called K-Love. It's a Christian station.
Okay.
You're smirking at me, but they actually partnered with Red Cross and put on some really good training for general crisis response.
Okay.
And we went to some of that training as well. And then a few years after I was in it for a couple of years, we started in with the International Critical Incident Stress Foundation, and now everyone on our team gets certified in both group and individual crisis intervention through that program.
And is that something they come to the department and teach, or do you have to go? Is it off-site?
It can be that we have sent team members to attend other places, and we have hosted our own classes for just our team. Okay. We have part of our team, it's mostly made up of our department, of course, but we have a mental health practitioner as part of our team who is not a part of our department, but is our go-to for the peer support team. And he's actually an instructor for that course. So he taught our most recent one at our own training academy.
And your team, again, we're not going to discuss the department, but what are the ranks? Do you have regular
We have,
deputies, sergeants,
yes, all the way up.
lieutenants?
All the way up. We try not to be too top heavy. It's just because we say there's no rank in peer support, but let's be honest, if you were to sit down across from a sergeant, a lieutenant, someone of that nature, it's hard to put out of your head that this is, Lieutenant Jones, Lieutenant Smith, whatever, and just see a Brian.
And that was an issue that I had. I started back in 2002, and the first or second year I was on the job, we had a guy killed in the line of duty. And our peer support was all sergeants and lieutenants and captains. And I'm sorry, but I'm not talking to you because you're not one of my peers.
Right.
We're supposed to elevate those folks. I know sometimes they don't act like it, but they're supposed to be not better than us, but outrank us.
Right.
And just because you're a lieutenant and I'm a deputy, that automatically means we're not peers.
Right. There's definitely a difference there. And I will tell you one of the reasons that I've never competed for not trying to become a sergeant or anything like that is because this is more important to me. I'd rather be on the line with my fellow officers than up in the ranks. And being part of peer support is something I have had where we've had situations occur within our department, and we're going to have, we open up to the department, hey, peer support team's going to be available at this location at this time if you want to talk to anybody. And I've had people reach out and say, hey, is it going to be a bunch of sergeants there? Because I don't want to. And if I know there's going to be, I'm not going to lie to them. I'll tell them there's probably going to be some sergeants, possibly lieutenant there. But if that makes them uncomfortable, I'm more than happy to meet with them outside of that. So, just come talk to me, or I can put you in touch with anybody else on the team you're comfortable talking with.
And I know from experience that they make you guys available anytime there's a line of duty loss or suicide or something like that. But can I just come talk to you on a Tuesday morning when I just need somebody to talk to?
Absolutely. Whether it's job related, whether it's personal life, whatever it is, we're here for you. We make ourselves available. We have made available to our department through our intranet a list of our peer support team, along with our personal cell phone numbers are available so that anyone in the department can reach out to us at any time, and we'll work with that. And we're here for any type of situation that you just need to.
So how many people do you have on your team, and is there a chain of command?
Right now, I would say there's probably about 20 of us.
Okay.
There's not really a chain of command as such. We do, of course, have a lieutenant who coordinates, is in charge of us, and will put out the message if there's a situation or something comes up and we need to have peer support respond. He will send out like a group text basically, and whoever's available will respond to that. So he coordinates that and makes sure, that if we're needed to be pulled from wherever we are working at times, that's done if it's at all possible, just to coordinate that. But other than that, there's not really a chain of command, so to speak. Do
they monitor how many cases that you guys work or how many people that you deal with? Because knowing you personally, you'd be into everything. And I know, and that too much of that can be a bad thing.
Right. We do keep track. We don't document who we talk to or what we talk about. Our tracking system, each of us can just log into basically a spreadsheet.
Okay.
And we just log, okay, on this date, I talked to someone and either it was personal related or work related. And that is the only thing that we document.
And all of this is confidential, correct?
All of it is completely confidential. Even basically our IA or whatever can't question us. Hey, did anybody come to you in a peer support capacity about this incident and tell you anything? They're not allowed to do that. There is actually in the Code of Virginia and several state codes that protect peer support in court, that we can't be subpoenaed. That is, I'll be honest, that is being challenged right now in some states, unfortunately. But there are state laws in most states that protect peer support just like it would doctor-patient confidentiality, that kind of thing.
Okay. And so let's go back to your training. So you do your initial training. Do you guys research every year, 2 years, like in-service stuff?
Right. It's not mandated to
Okay.
research at a certain time. Now, I've been doing it long enough that this last time they offered the training for some of our new members, I said, hey, I'd like to do it again.
Okay.
I figured in several years things probably would have changed some. Hadn't really changed that much. They still used the same book, but
they don't change things until it's 2 days too late.
well, and in the peer support training and that kind of training, it was still very relevant and it was good to get that refresher for me. And it was good for me to spend a couple of days training with some of the newer team members that I probably hadn't sat beside and done anything with.
Now, could you make your way to be an instructor for peer support, or do you have to work for that foundation?
That foundation certifies the training, and the instructors are generally mental health professionals.
Yeah, but and that's good. But
Right.
I've always been that you got to have somebody that's had boots on the ground.
Exactly, and that's the great thing with this foundation. Our mental health professional who works with our team and did this training is also a retired firefighter.
Oh, there you go.
So it's, and he has said, just working, in his line of work and with other counselors, therapists, that sort of thing, when they're dealing with first responders, usually the first question they get from us is, do you have experience working with first responders? Because we're in our own world. It's a different life. You said it. We see and deal with a lot of things that Joe Public probably wouldn't want to or doesn't need to.
Well, and I was talking to a chief a couple of weeks ago, and we were talking about that same exact thing. And to me, I don't think 95% of the public has a clue what's going on. Not a clue.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Because when I was working, and I know you probably run into it now, as soon as somebody finds out what you do, oh, have you ever done this? Have you ever done that? And, you get that same question 100 times, and usually it's something that you've done 100 times.
Mm-hmm.
So I just don't, I think at some point they're relatively clueless. So let's say you need to talk to somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Who does peer support go to for peer support?
We go to each other. I will tell you, there is another officer on our team who's been doing it for a few years, joined the team, I don't think too long after I did. And several times I have called him, texted him, pulled him aside. Hey, Mike, I need to bounce something off you. Yeah. I need a sounding board. And usually that's what it is for us, is it's just talking about, hey, I'm dealing with this, and it's a whole lot right now.
Yeah.
And it's so helpful just to share that with someone who knows exactly what you're talking about, speaks the language, so to speak, and gets it. So yeah, we do go to each other. We confide in each other. And we also really encourage that there's, like you said, we're trying to break that stigma, that mental health stigma. There is nothing wrong with seeing a counselor, seeing a therapist, that professional help, because we are not peer support. We are, like you said, we're peers, and that's the whole point. We're not trained therapists. We're not mental health professionals. We're just a peer who gets it, and we want to help each other get through it. So there are times when, as a peer support team, when I've talked to people, there will be occasions where we will suggest to them, hey, this could be helpful for you.
Yeah.
And there's no shame in that. I think therapy is outstanding. It's very helpful for a lot of people just to have that. Sometimes you need that professional level of insight.
I will tell you, when I retired, I had 20 years with the sheriff's office. And I don't know if you're aware, but before I went to the sheriff's office, I had almost 10 years of fire and rescue.
Yeah.
So there was a lot bubbling around in my cranium when it came time to leave. And I went through the VA because I wanted to talk to either a first responder or a veteran. I wanted to talk to somebody that had been in a stressful situation, not somebody that spent 20 years at UVA learning stuff. I wanted to talk to somebody who's been where I've been or done what I've done.
Right.
And thank God he told me I wasn't crazy, because I was worried about that one. But it did make the transition a little easier.
Yeah.
But the therapy, it does work. Even us dinosaurs, man, because it took a long time for me, and I credit my wife. She was the one that said I needed to talk to somebody. I can't drink anymore, so I can't go get drunk and forget about it. But, you know, to answer this question for me, they're starting to hire younger and younger every year. And I know before I retired, they were hiring 18-year-olds. What's the difference in the way that the old folks like you and I handle this mess and these young kids? Because honestly, I don't think an 18-year-old is equipped to deal with the stuff that you deal with in the jail, on a fire scene, or on a crime scene.
Mm-hmm. I've seen better and worse for it. I have seen a lot of things where it's harder for these younger ones coming on, these younger recruits coming in. They just don't have the life experience behind them.
No, they
And
don't.
so dealing with some of these situations is just maybe a baptism by fire, and sometimes it's just too much.
Yeah.
And this is not for me. I can't handle this, and they just shut down. And then there's other things, especially coming from a peer support aspect, where the dinosaurs you speak of, we were kind of raised in this first responder world to keep it all in and show no weakness. And it's sometimes harder for us to open up and talk about things.
Oh, definitely. I would agree with you there 120%.
Yeah, the younger ones, I am glad to see that with the younger ones, some of that stigma is getting broken. It's going away with the younger generations. They're not as hesitant to talk about things, to say, hey, this was a lot. No. Some of them, of course, still come in, feel like they have something to prove maybe or whatever, and they don't want to, but and maybe it helps to see some of us old timers sitting there on peer support saying, you know what, I've been there. Well,
the thing that I noticed my last couple of years, these young men and women coming up now, these 18 and 19-year-olds, to them, it's just a job.
Mm-hmm.
When you and I started, we joined a family.
Right.
And we came to each other, but these cats, man, they get done with that 12-hour shift and they're out the door and on their damn PlayStations or Game Boys or whatever the hell it is they're doing.
Yeah, it's definitely, there's definitely generational differences there in the way things are done. And again, I've seen good and bad. I've had some of those younger people on my shift, and some of them I'm looking at them just thinking, well, I don't really have any help today. And then some of them I have said, hey, he can be my partner any day of the week. So, it's just like anybody else. And I don't think it's strictly to that generation, because just like us, there's different personalities there and different levels of maturity at different ages. So I have seen some 19-year-olds that I have worked with that were outstanding. And I just hope and pray they are able to maintain, because the other thing we've talked about, you loving retirement, me counting down just a few more years. We've talked about starting that young. Most agencies, most states, I think, require a minimum retirement age.
Yeah.
Our state is 50. You can't collect your retirement until you're 50 years old. And for some of these kids starting at 18 years old,
that's a long time to be walking around that jail, man.
Long time to be wearing a badge and a uniform. Yeah. Very long time if they're trying to stay in it until retirement. So that's something else that I worry about for some of them facing, personally, having some of those days and weeks and months that it just feels like I can't do this anymore. And I can look at that countdown and go, okay, I've done 20 years. I can get through 5 more. It's going to be okay. And then these guys are going, well, I've done 3 years and I still have 34 to go. It's
Oh
just,
my God, that hurts just to think about.
yes, right? It's just so overwhelming to think about putting that much time in. So I don't know how their big picture looks.
Yeah.
And so that's what I've talked with some of them about making good financial choices, financial planning to make sure you don't end up at that place where you've done this job. We talked about the physical
Yeah.
effects. You've done this job for so long that your body wears down and are you going to reach that point where you can't do it anymore because you've been doing it for so long, but you're not old enough to get that retirement? So I worry about some of them ending up in that position as the other thing for them to worry about.
They'll really need some peer support then when you strapping that mess on and you've been doing this for 25 years and you got 10 more to go.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I tell you what, I wouldn't trade my 20 years for nothing. Nothing. All right, last word on peer support. What is the biggest obstacle?
The biggest obstacle, I think, is still that stigma, is not wanting to admit that I need help. It's something that, most of us old timers deal with, that, we think we can do it all on our own. And my hope for this episode of your podcast is that anyone, if your department has a peer support team, reach out to them. They want to talk to you. They want to hear from you. If it may not be even that there's anything specific going on. Just, hey, you know what? Let's talk for a little bit. It can really be beneficial. And if there's still a department out there that doesn't have a peer support team of their own officers, their own firefighters, their own EMTs, whatever kind of department you are, look into what you need to start one, because it is absolutely critical, I think, for
and you're talking about small departments,
right.
And a lot of the smaller departments probably don't have anything like
Right.
that. I interviewed the sheriff a couple of days ago of McCracken County, Kentucky. 34 deputies.
Wow.
That's it.
Yeah.
The sheriff over in Suffolk, he's got 21.
Oh, Dave.
I interviewed him, sat down with him for a little while.
I listened to his.
Yeah, but
he's good people there.
Yeah. But that's the thing. If you need help, please go get it, because nobody. I know Kim and I, neither one like sitting in funerals and getting that call that so and so is either died in the line of duty or taking their own life. If you need help, please, by all means, go get it. There's nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong with it. Those dinosaurs are starting to fade out, and the ones that haven't faded out, I've changed my thinking. So if you need help, go get it.
And if your department doesn't have a peer support team, reach out to your local union or your FOP or whatever you might have and find out who's got one.
Would the state have something like that?
I'm not sure if they have one, but I know if you reach out probably to just about any FOP lodge, or does fire have something similar to FOP?
Not that I'm aware of.
No association. And anything like that they could either help you or point you in the right direction, or reach out to another local department to see if they have something. I know we're more than happy. We have worked with other agencies. When there's been major events, we've hosted a local open just support night where we've invited any first responders who were involved in some major situation to come in, and I was able to volunteer for some of those when I still had my dog working, and it was, I come from law enforcement background, and I was sitting with firefighters, but hey, we all got it because we were all involved in the same thing.
Yeah, we're all the same. I mean, our jobs are a little bit different, but we all have the same mentality.
Right.
We want to help people. We like loud noises and fires and sirens and stuff like that. So, yeah. What about talking to? And this just occurred to me. If I'm Private Joe Smith out there in Kentucky somewhere with a 5-man sheriff's office, just talking to a coworker, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's and before peer support, And Kim and I can remember before peer support. That's what we did, man. Hung out in the parking lot before a shift or after shift. And that's when you got stuff off your chest.
Yeah. We'd
So-
go to the IHOP after a night shift and yeah. Oh, you remember those days.
Yeah, oh yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that'll do it for us. Kim, thank you, ma'am. I appreciate your time. All right, if you need help, please go get it. There's no shame at all. All right, till we talk to you again, be safe, watch your six, and take care of each other. We'll talk to you later.
You have been listening to the First Responders Podcast with your host, Brian Miller. Please tune in for future episodes of this podcast. Our podcast is dedicated to the men and women who serve the public as first responders. Thank you.